is a result of its warming up as it gets close to the sun, but it doesn't change its path. There is no push.
A recently leaked document, stamped with a U.S. Space Force seal, has confirmed what many have suspected for months. The official story about the interstellar object 3I Atlas was a lie. The 48-hour global telescope blackout wasn't a solar flare or a system glitch. It was a gag order. The thing nobody tells you is that our planet's most powerful eyes were forced shut right at the critical moment. The report reveals that what the Space Force saw hurtling toward us was so deeply unsettling, so fundamentally terrifying, that they decided humanity wasn't ready to know the truth. The day the sky went blank. It started as the astronomical event of the decade. 3I Atlas, the third confirmed interstellar object to ever visit our solar system, was putting on a spectacular show. Unlike its predecessors, Oumuamua and Borisov, Atlas was unusually large, estimated to be over 5 miles long, and it was glowing with a strange, pulsating light. Amateur and professional astronomers alike were captivated. Many people are crazy about these cosmic visitors, and you can see this everywhere online, with forums buzzing with theories and excitement. For weeks, every new piece of data added to the puzzle. Its composition was strange, rich in heavy metals that didn't match the profile of any known comet or asteroid. The most shocking fact was its trajectory. It was slowing down, an almost imperceptible change, but one that defied all known physics for an inert object. It was as if it was gently applying the brakes. Then came the blackout. At first, it was dismissed as a localized glitch. The Keck Observatory in Hawaii reported a data feed interruption. Minutes later, the Very Large Telescope in Chile went offline. Then, one by one, like dominoes falling in the dark, every major observatory tracking 3I Atlas reported the same thing: data unavailable. The public-facing websites for NASA and the European Space Agency showed frozen images, the timestamp stuck at the moment of the outage. You see, this wasn't just a few systems failing. This was a coordinated global shutdown. The official story came within the hour. A spokesperson for the U.S. Space Force, in a joint statement with NASA, blamed an unprecedented coronal mass ejection, or CME. They claimed a massive wave of solar radiation had temporarily fried the sensitive electronics of telescopes around the globe. It sounded plausible, to put it mildly. CMEs are real, and they can cause chaos. But astronomers were skeptical. The thing nobody tells you is that our observatories are heavily shielded against such events. And why did the blackout only affect the telescopes pointed at that specific, tiny patch of sky? Why could the Hubble Space Telescope still take pictures of distant galaxies, but not of 3I Atlas? The blackout lasted for exactly 48 hours. When the feeds came back online, 3I Atlas was different. The strange pulsation had stopped. Its trajectory had corrected back to a standard hyperbolic path, as if it were now just a normal, lifeless rock hurtling back into the void. The official narrative was that the CME had caused a massive outgassing event, changing its course and appearance. Case closed. But for those 48 hours, something had happened. Something important enough to warrant a global curtain of silence. What many overlooked was the sheer scale of the operation. Shutting down every major observatory on the planet requires more than a solar flare. It requires a directive. It requires an authority that can override international scientific agreements and silence the world's astronomers with a single command. The CME was a convenient lie. The truth, buried in classified servers, was that in the final minutes before the blackout, 3I Atlas hadn't just pulsed with light. It had broadcast a message. But the reason for the cover-up was far worse than anyone imagined. An unnatural object. The leaked report is not a long document. It's a short, concise summary from a Space Force cryptology unit, designated Project Cassandra. The file details the final 60 seconds of data received from 3I Atlas before the Emergency Data Denial Protocol, codenamed Guillotine, was activated. What the telescopes captured wasn't a simple light pulse. It was a complex, structured burst of neutrinos. Neutrinos are ghostly particles that pass through almost everything, making them nearly impossible to detect. The fact that we received a coherent beam of them, powerful enough to be registered by multiple sensors, is a technological feat far beyond anything humanity can comprehend. It was, without a doubt, an intentional signal. But it wasn't the medium that was terrifying. It was the message. The signal wasn't a greeting or a mathematical equation. It was a recording, a sort of cosmic dashcam video, encoded in the most fundamental particles of the universe. The report contains a partial, chilling reconstruction of the data. It depicted a planetary system, not unlike our own, with a thriving blue-green world orbiting a yellow star. The data packet contained geological, atmospheric, and even biological markers. It was a snapshot of a living, breathing planet teeming with what the report calls complex, carbon-based activity. It was a portrait of an alien Earth. Then, the recording showed the arrival of the phenomenon. It's never given a specific name in the report, only a classification: Level 5 existential threat. It appeared not as a fleet of ships or an asteroid, but as a subtle distortion in space-time itself, a ripple that spread from the outer edges of the star system inward. The most shocking fact is how quiet it was. There were no explosions. The planets just dissolved. The recording showed the blue-green world's atmosphere peeling away, its oceans boiling into nothingness, and the planet itself crumbling, its matter seemingly unwritten from reality. The entire process, from the first ripple to the star system's complete erasure, took just under 7 minutes. The final data packet from 3I Atlas was a trajectory map. It showed where the phenomenon had come from and where it was going. And it showed where 3I Atlas had come from, a desolate, empty region of space where that vibrant star system once existed. The object wasn't a ship or a probe in the way we understand them. It was a warning buoy, an automated survivor, programmed to flee the destruction and carry a record of what had happened. Its mission was to find other inhabited systems and show them the recording, to warn them. And the trajectory map showed something else. The detail that triggered the immediate cover-up. The space-time ripple, the planet-ending phenomenon, was still moving, and it was headed directly for our solar system. The report didn't just describe an object, it described our future, national security versus global threat. The decision to initiate Protocol Guillotine was made in less than 10 minutes. The thing nobody tells you about the Space Force is that they have contingency plans for everything, and a plan for first contact hostile intent had been on the books for years. But the data from 3I Atlas didn't fit neatly into any category. This wasn't an invasion, it was a death sentence delivered by a cosmic courier. The leaked report includes a transcript of the emergency teleconference between the Space Force commander, the Director of National Intelligence, and the President's science advisor. The panic is palpable, even in the cold, redacted text. The primary justification for the cover-up was simple: preventing global, uncontrollable chaos. What would happen if the world learned that an unstoppable, world-ending force was on its way, with an estimated arrival time of 50 to 75 years? Markets would collapse, religions would fracture, society would tear itself apart in a frenzy of hedonism and despair. The consensus was that humanity couldn't handle the truth. To put it mildly, the cure would be worse than the disease. So, the lie was constructed. A solar flare, a temporary glitch, a strange but natural outgassing event. The raw data was scrubbed from public servers and reclassified under a special access program so secret that even most of the top brass at the Pentagon don't know it exists. But not everyone agreed. What many overlooked were the faint signs of internal dissent. The report contains a heavily redacted appendix, a memo from the head of NASA's Planetary Defense Coordination Office. The author argued passionately that hiding the truth was not only unethical, but strategically foolish. The human race is at its best when faced with an insurmountable challenge, the memo reads. This knowledge could unite us, accelerate our technology, and give us a fighting chance, however small. The author proposed a controlled, phased release of the information, starting with the scientific community. The proposal was rejected. The author of that memo was reassigned to an administrative role in Alaska 2 weeks later. The cover-up machine was brutally efficient, a silent leviathan of state power. Astronomers who voiced suspicions too loudly didn't just find their grant funding mysteriously drying up. They found their life's work discredited overnight by anonymous peer reviews and their careers shunted into academic obscurity. Journalists who dug too deep were not merely fed misinformation from official sources. They were buried in it, their credibility systematically dismantled by fabricated scandals and whispers of instability. The story faded from the headlines, deftly replaced by manufactured political crises and celebrity gossip, a constant stream of noise to drown out the horrifying signal from the void. The global network of scientists was silenced, not by threats of violence, but by the far more insidious weapon of professional intimidation. Why risk your reputation, your mortgage, your entire future for a truth that society was being conditioned to ignore? The greatest discovery in human history, the knowledge that we are not alone and that our end is coming, wasn't just buried under bureaucracy and fear. And the protocol to silence it had been written years in advance. Are we alone or are we next? So, what happens now? The leaked report ends without a conclusion, only data. We are living on a planet with a ticking clock, and only a handful of people in a windowless room know it. People who are watching this are likely looking for a mystery, and the mystery isn't just what 3i Atlas showed us, but what we're supposed to do about it. The thing is, this isn't a problem that can be solved with weapons or walls. How do you fight a ripple in space-time? How do you stop your reality from being unwritten? This is where the story moves from classified reports into the realm of speculation, but it's speculation grounded in the terrifying reality of the leak. Are we missing a key detail? Perhaps. The data from the recording was incomplete. Maybe there's a defense, a frequency, a scientific principle that the doomed civilization didn't discover in time. The 50 to 75-year window isn't a long time for a species that still argues over borders and flags, but it's an eternity for science. The knowledge of our impending end could be the very thing that saves us, pushing our technology and our unity to levels we can't currently imagine. Or maybe the cover-up was the right call. Maybe our civilization is too fragile, too prone to panic, to handle such a burden. You see, the final, most terrifying part of the report wasn't the recording of a world ending. It was a single, stray data point detected moments after the main signal. A faint, repeating neutrino pulse from another direction entirely. It was another warning buoy, just like 3i Atlas, but on a different trajectory, coming from a different dead star system. The implication is chilling. This has happened before, likely many times. We're not the first to get the warning. We're just the next in line. The story of 3i Atlas is far from over. In truth, it has only just begun. Its trajectory through our system was a fleeting moment, but the data it carried has ignited a slow-burning fire that now threatens to consume everything we hold certain. The secret it revealed is too vast, too fundamental to be contained by classified servers and redacted documents. It is a truth that bleeds through the cracks of official denial, spreading like a virus of consciousness through the networks that connect us. At first, it was whispers in astronomical forums, fragmented datasets shared by anonymous sources that were quickly dismissed as hoaxes. But as more and more people pieced together the chilling mosaic, the initial wondrous question of what did they see is rapidly becoming obsolete. The awe that once surrounded the interstellar visitor has curdled into a cold, existential dread. The focus has irrevocably shifted to a far more terrifying question. What do we do now? This single question has cleaved humanity in two, carving a deep fault line in our collective soul. On one side stand those who would heed the unspoken implication and prepare for the end. They argue for a quiet acceptance of our fate, to embrace our role as a fleeting anomaly in a cosmos governed by indifferent predatory laws. For them, our story concludes not with a heroic stand, but with a dignified surrender to the inevitable. Opposing them are those who call for an impossible fight, a rebellion not against a tangible foe of flesh or steel, but against the fundamental principles of the universe itself. This is a final, defiant roar against the encroaching silence, a war waged against mathematics, a protest screamed into the void. It is a choice between quiet resignation and a final desperate gambit against the cold logic of extinction. The leaked report offers no solace in this debate. It contains no blueprint for salvation or strategy for war. It is merely a mirror reflecting a horrifying reality back at us. A warning delivered not with malice, but with the cold, impartial finality of a mathematical proof, carried across the silent, unforgiving darkness of interstellar space. The clock is ticking for all of us, whether we know it or not. If you had the power, would you tell the world the terrifying truth? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more secrets the universe is hiding.